Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to this video of an apocalypse is pretty much guaranteed at this point. Which of these four would you prefer? But people have been expecting the destruction of life as we know it for a while now, and they've been preparing. Building up defenses capable of defending them against any and all dangers that the surface may bring. And I mentioned the surface because this is a very Fallout style way of surviving. But obviously you guys have seen the title and know that today we're looking at a doomsday bunker. But not just any doomsday bunker. This one is a renovated Cold War missile silo that's been turned into a luxury bunker for the super rich. Because the main people that should be safe from nuclear destruction are the people who most likely caused it. But the first bit of information that we get about this bunker is that the doors are made of armored steel and concrete and weigh a combined 16 tons. And I know that the nuclear wasteland is dangerous and all, you've got to protect against death claws and shit, but what about a little window? What if I wanted to come upstairs and point and laugh at all the poor people who got turned into mutated monstrosities?
Inside, this 54,000 square foot complex boasts everything you could need to live through the end of days.
Ah, yeah, everything you need. A bed, a cramped place to get incredibly drunk because what else are you gonna do? Watch Barnyard for the 10,000th time? Or swim in the most depressing pool known to man? Like, imagine, you've just seen the entire world get destroyed. You've been rushed to safety, locked away and hidden from the world. You go down this incredibly evil-looking lift that turns you into a Sith, and you see this reinforced door labeled beach. How long would it take for you to go in there? I'd say about a few weeks so I can realistically even relax after just seeing the world get destroyed. But you finally go down there, you open it up and just see this. What the fuck is that? That would just make me even more depressed, and I know that those two parrots would piss me off just after a few days. Lost in paradise. I mean, the fact that this place would actually be the definition of paradise in the apocalypse is even more depressing. And being constantly reminded of that by two fucking parrots who think it's all sunshines and rainbows will just tip me over the edge eventually. And why do they have an umbrella up in there? In case you want to go into the shade and protect yourself against the harsh laboratory style lighting, which they also expect you to sunbathe in. But this next feature is actually wild.
Got a 24-foot rock climbing wall. This is an indoor shooting range. You can come down here and shoot everything from handguns up to .308 caliber sniper rifles in here.
Now, a shooting range is good in an apocalypse. You can train people up, get them to be really good shots. But a climbing wall? I mean, don't get me wrong, having a climbing wall in there is honestly really cool, but who sat around and thought that they needed that? Okay, so we've got the gym, the cinema, the bar, the school, the library, the shooting range, and this giant empty room with 20-foot tall ceilings. What could possibly go in there? We could do a sports hall kind of thing where people can come in and play basketball, football, dodgeball, stuff like that. Yeah, or like a games room, you know, we could put some board games in there, a pool table, a ping pong table, something that people could use all of the time. What about a climbing wall? Yeah, okay, I mean, wait, what? Yeah, we put all the rocks up on the wall and we can't move them around, so they're always the same layout. Put a bunch of mats down for safety that take up half of the floor space in the room. I'm sure all the rich old people that'll live in the bunker will want to use it more than at least once. He's right, put it in. And every room needs a cook chair. My god, he's a genius. And they've got this whole area that's just completely empty. Like, you're gonna be locked in there for a long ass time, and they made sure to have a designated sit on the floor and look at a low quality picture of a mountain space. But that's also a lot of specialist equipment that requires workers to maintain and operate. And I don't get the feeling that too many of the mega rich are gonna want to spend their apocalypse working in climbing equipment maintenance. So that means that they need workers, which means workers' quarters, which means a class divide, which means a Snowpiercer-like scenario, which eventually means civil unrest and civil war and a battle between the two classes. And a fight is pretty much inevitable in a bunker anyway because humans just can't get along. But they're setting themselves up for that one. Some dude is gonna get in there after 500 years and find all of their skeletons clutching audio logs and hear the entire goddamn story.
This whole facility has internet. Things that you fill out on your form are things that are of interest to you. We put that into a device that is like a Google search engine. It goes out and it crawls over the internet and it downloads websites that have those keywords on them.
Does that mean that the mega rich are asking for specific X-rated content? He just has a list of what everybody's into and has to find those exact videos? I mean, they have to think of everything, right? That's just an incredibly awkward part of the job for him.
Down on the store level, there's an aquaculture setup that can be used for raising fish and hydroponics for growing organic vegetables.
You can have salad daily with this kind of setup.
Oh yeah.
Great, it's healthy.
God damn, yeah, these guys are sorted for everything. They're growing their own fish. I didn't even think of that as a possibility. But alright, that's enough of looking at all of the amenities, and let's look at what really matters. What do the luxury living quarters look like? They keep calling them luxury, so I'm quite excited to see. So this complex is 15 stories. We've got some recreational facilities at the top, because if they get overrun, they could still survive without a climbing wall, I guess. Then a mechanical level, store level, a medical bay, 7 floors of living quarters, then 4 more floors with a classroom, library, bar, cinema, gym, and more storage. With a maximum occupancy of 75 people, and for the room that we're about to look at now, it'll cost you around $1 to $1.5 million. And this is what you get.
This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit, and they have 9-foot ceilings.
And most importantly, even though I'm 11 stories underground, I've still got a window.
Surprisingly, it doesn't look that bad. Children's bunk beds seem like a terrible idea though, because the main thing about children is that they grow up. And when they grow up, they grow. So they're not going to fit in that bed for very long. Which actually brings me to a different point. What about all the babies? The maximum occupancy is 75, and for this room there's space for 6 people, 2 adults and 4 kids. If every room has 6 people living in it, that's about 13 living quarters. We'll round it up. And let's say that it's perfectly split. Every bed is filled, so that's 25 adults and 50 children. And we'll lowball this next bit since we've already assumed that every single room is filled to maximum capacity, and say that about half of all the children ended up getting together and having a kid, giving them about 18 years between the start of Apocalypse and when they get together, obviously. But that's suddenly 13 more people that they just don't have the space for. And that's not even bringing into account the possibility of twins, triplets, having second kids, the parents having more kids, just some people going around getting multiple people pregnant. All I'm saying is that people can reproduce like rats. And this bunker does not seem to be well built for generational survival. But back to the video, they know that that's not what the view is going to look like after a nuke, right? He talks about seeing birds flying around.
When these windows are all on, you're coming out of the units and you see the birds flying and the sunset coming up and the rain and the weather changing. That's the input your brain is used to.
He built this enormous bunker to hide away from the wasteland because there's simply no way that any living creature can survive it. And he expects to see birds. There's not even going to be any grass. They're going to look at that TV and see a live feed of absolutely nothing but wasteland, which will just make them feel even worse about the entire thing. But in saying all that, I would actually like that TV window in my bunker room, just out of curiosity.
Pretty comfy. These are good mattresses.
Of course, there's even a cook chair in there. Why does every hotel or resort or anywhere that isn't just a normal bedroom always have a cook chair?
It was engineered to withstand a 10 kiloton nuclear warhead detonated within a half mile. And that would produce a shock wave that would travel 2,000 miles an hour. So it can withstand anything up to and including a 2,000 mile an hour shock wave.
Yeah, but this was built in the Cold War though. And 10 kilotons is obviously extremely powerful. But the average US nuclear warhead today is around 200 kilotons. So if one lands anywhere near this bunker, it probably isn't surviving. But then again, if a nuke stood right next to anything, it would stand no chance, so this is your best bet. And why would they fire a nuke in the middle of nowhere in Kansas?
What's the longest I could live down underground for?
The limit is really, most practically, 3 to 5 years.
What? No, the limit of time you can survive in that bunker is 3 to 5 years? A nuclear winter can last either a few weeks, a few months, or even decades. Those first two scenarios, yeah, sure, you'd be able to come out and survive in the air, but there'd also be no usable soil, a depleted ozone layer, so the sun's radiation is actively trying to kill you more, no food, the remote location of the bunker would make it really difficult to find building materials and medical supplies. You'd be fucked. Honestly, surviving in a nuclear apocalypse just sounds like the worst. I'd rather just get blown up. And the worst case scenario is that the fallout does last around a decade, and by that point they'll have ran out of food, so they'll be starving and going feral. There's no way for them to come out in a good position here. But the fact that they definitely would want to stick around near the bunker, because why would you ever want to leave such a luxury place to live that has immense security and is perfectly protected from the wasteland, means that the issue about where all the babies would go still stands. But that's enough talking about how the world's most expensive bunker would still be a horrible place to try and survive in the event of a nuclear apocalypse. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, and when we do hit 1,000, I will be doing a live stream where every time I die in Elden Ring, I have to take a shot. So I probably won't survive it. And if you do subscribe, then I will eat you.